What is up guys, Joe here back with another video. Today is Friday, November 12th, 2021 and Rivian is up over 5% for the day and over 23% for the week. Rivian just launched their IPO this week and went public, and investors are extremely bullish on this name. Rivian has exclusive partnerships with Amazon, Ford and other institutional investors, and some are saying they could be Tesla's biggest competitor yet. So along with the new $1 trillion infrastructure bill that would just pass, there's tons of positive catalysts in the EV space this month. So everything electric vehicle and electric charging is having a massive bull run. So today I wanted to look at some headlines, do some technical analysis, and see if this is a buy recommendation from my perspective. So let's dive in. So if we jump over to FinViz, there are a couple of headlines moving the stock higher. Rivian drafts close to Tesla in race for investor attention. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says production and cash flow will be the real test for Rivian. Why EV startups are commanding such high valuations. Rivian is competition for Tesla's institutional investors, hedge fund veteran. Rivian is the first legitimate competition Tesla has ever had in terms of institutional investor interest, says hedge fund veteran Nicholas Colas. The co-founder of DataTrek Research explains the electric vehicle company, which just went public on Wednesday, is an option for investors who saw only Tesla as a legitimate EV player. We've done enough IPOs over the years to know some investors cycle through new companies as they go public, selling the old name and replacing it with the new, wrote Colas in a note to investors. Tesla has been the only real EV play in US equity markets for years. Now it has competition for the marginal investor, he added. With Tesla still 2.1% of the S&P 500, fifth largest holding, it will be interesting to see how this all plays out, he added. Rivian achieved an $86 billion market cap on its first day of trading. Comparatively, that valuation is about the same as GM and slightly less than Ford's $77 billion market cap. Colas goes on to note Rivian's market share is about 8% of Tesla's $1.1 billion current valuation. And here's an illustration showing the biggest EV makers in the US, Tesla, Rivian, and number 3 would be Lucid by market cap versus China, and the 3 biggest EV makers in China would be NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto. On the one hand, that seems reasonable, said Colas. Rivian has great investor partners in Amazon and Ford. We've seen its products firsthand and they are truly compelling. He goes on to note though, Tesla did not reach an $80 billion market cap until early 2020. By then, it was producing 100,000 vehicles a quarter. Colas highlights that Rivian is just starting to ship its first customer vehicles now. The company aims to make up to 1 million vehicles a year by 2030. Rivian's valuation makes it a legitimate option for institutional investors who have previously only had Tesla to play the electric vehicle space, wrote Colas. Some industry watchers highlight the massive valuations for pure electric vehicle makers versus traditional automakers. With the success of Tesla and now Rivian, at least from the market's perspective, one would think that GM and Volkswagen and Nissan and other car giants were not hard at work on electric vehicles, Josh Wayne, portfolio manager with Hennessy Funds, told Yahoo Finance. I mean, the valuations that are ascribed to these electric vehicle only makers is incredible and would indicate that they would absolutely dominate the space, which I can't imagine in 10 years will be the case, he added. So jumping back into FinViz, we do see generally on this daily chart that every day Rivian has been opening higher and gapping higher each and every day. So that is a bullish sentiment. That is a bullish run happening here. So if we jump over to TradingView, this is our 5-minute chart. And like I said, generally we have been on this push higher. And each day we do find a base down here and we tend to gap up at open. And we have a continuation pattern, consolidation, and a gap up the next day and more consolidation. And presumably I would think for the next week we will have more gap ups and continuation patterns. So now, in order to predict where the stock could be headed next, we can draw some Fibonacci retracement zones in order to accurately predict our support and resistance lines. So what you want to do is grab your Fib retracement tool here, and you want to drop your first anchor at the lowest point on the stock, which was posted on its first trading day, and you want to stretch this out, and your second anchor would be placed at the highest point on the stock, which was made on its third trading day here, And as you can see, our dashed line here would act as ultimate support, and we have been on this upward trajectory each and every trading day, which is a really good sign. That's a bullish signal. And each time Rivian has been bouncing off of support here, here, and here. So now if we zoom out, we can expect Rivian to continue pushing higher like I mentioned earlier. We tend to consolidate here, and on our next trading day we gap up and move into our next zone, and we could find some support here and another gap up and more support here, support here, and support here. So now removing this support trend line. So as you can see, Rivian was trading in this zone, and that's between the 78% retracement zone and the 100% retracement zone. So our next level of resistance would be here, and that's the $135 mark with 2 cents. And if we're able to break through that, we can push higher and arrive at our next resistance zone, and that's a price target of 145 with 93 cents. And that's the 127% retracement zone. And if we're able to break through that, our next level of resistance would be the 161 retracement zone, and that's a price target of $159.81. Now, I do think we'll get there eventually, but not in a straight line up. We will encounter volatility along the way. Keep in mind, Rivian has not shipped any vehicles yet. It has not posted any sales yet, so it's being purely driven by momentum, by hype, by word of mouth, by social media. So for this bull run, trend is your friend, and overall we've just been pushing higher and higher each and every trading day, so I do expect this trend to continue upward. So if you wanted to get into this name, I would wait for a minor correction in order for you to buy in, something like a 5% correction for you to get in at a better price point. So now for you day traders, I would recommend using pivot points in order to more accurately predict where your support and resistance lines lie. So let's go ahead and remove these drawings. So now if we turn on our pivot points here, and as you can see, the pivot points almost closely align with our Fibonacci retracement zones. The main pivot point here, illustrated by this P, is close to the 61% retracement zone, and R1 resistance here is close to the 78% resistance zone. And similarly, R2 is close to the 100% retracement zone, and up above R3 is right by the 127% retracement zone, and that's a price target of 145. So once again, let me delete these drawings, and I'll delete the Fibonacci retracement zone. So at this point, you're probably wondering, what are pivot points? The pivot point itself is simply the average of the intraday high and low and the closing price from the previous trading day. On the subsequent day, trading above the pivot point is thought to indicate ongoing bullish sentiment, while trading below the pivot point indicates bearish sentiment. So what this means is anything above or below the current trend line, anything above is considered bullish, and anything below is considered bearish. And our ultimate pivot point, or where the tide turns, where the grand trend direction is headed, is indicated by this P trend line. So if we ultimately fall below that, you can consider the trend to start becoming bearish. But anything above this is bullish. And the good news is we are in an ongoing bull run. We're sitting at the R1 level, resistance 1, and I predict next week we will start visiting the R2 resistance zone and the R3 resistance zone. So like I mentioned earlier, we are in a consolidation phase. I do expect at Monday's open for us to gap up and begin trading in this next level of resistance, which is the R2 zone, and that's a price target of 135 with 7 cents. And for the next trading day, I do expect another gap up and consolidation here, and that is a price target of 146 with 59 cents. And if we zoom out, we can continue this trend direction, a gap up and consolidation here, and that's a price target of 157, and subsequently another gap up and consolidation for ultimately a price target of 167. Now again, this is a purely technical analysis viewpoint, and like I mentioned earlier, we only have a few days of trading data to go off of, so you really have to be vigilant with this name. It's a highly volatile name, and a lot of investors are piling into this name, so it's prone to a lot of manipulation. So really you have to be nimble and you have to act quick if you decide to day trade this name. And one last thing, if we turn on our volume profile here, we do see that the most trading action was traded today on Friday, our last trading day, and most of the action would lay here at this price point, and the point of control was at the $127 mark, and that's where the most action was happening. The big war between the bears and the bulls, and it's oscillating between the point of control. So the biggest question is Monday, will the bulls win? I do think so. I think Monday we will gap up and continue higher. So if you were to ask me, am I bearish or bullish on this stock? I am bullish on the stock. I do think Rivian has a lot of exciting products in the pipeline. They have an impressive roadmap for the next couple of years, and they're really trying to take on Tesla for this EV race. So is it a buy recommendation on my end? Yes, I would recommend you buy this name, but I recommend you wait for a better price entry. Wait until the stock dips a few percentage points for you to buy in and continue riding this wave. Now, ultimately, like I said, with such a volatile name, I do recommend also you put a stop loss if in case the trend starts turning downward, and something like a -5% stop loss would be beneficial to you. So if you do start making impressive gains, at least you have some protection to the downside. Again, this is a very impressive name, and this is a very lucrative company with a lot of institutional interest, and I do expect this name to be added to the S&P 500 one day. And one last thing, if we notice our RSI down here, we were trending upward, and we're currently at the 65 point mark, but I do think we'll continue pushing higher at the 70 point and higher towards the 80 point mark. But with such high momentum moving the stock forward, the RSI doesn't matter too much because investors will continue buying this name no matter what. So yeah, let me know what you think. Are you bullish on Rivian? What do you like about this company? What don't you like about this company? And I do hope you found this information helpful. So if you have any questions, please leave a question in the comment section. I'll be happy to respond. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.